In the vast, uncharted expanse of the Andromeda Galaxy, where stars whispered secrets to the void and nebulae painted the cosmos in hues of electric blue and fiery crimson, Captain Elias Thorne steered his sleek scout ship, the Vanguard, through the remnants of a forgotten battlefield. The wreckage floated like ghosts, twisted metal hulls from ancient wars between civilizations long extinct. Elias, a rugged explorer from Earth's United Frontier Corps, had always been drawn to these desolate corners. At 35, with a jawline sharpened by years of survival and eyes that held the quiet fire of a man who'd seen too many suns rise on alien worlds, he thrived on the unknown. But nothing could have prepared him for the faint distress signal that pierced the silence of his cockpit that fateful day. The signal led him to a derelict vessel, its hull scarred and venting plasma like a wounded beast. Docking was risky. Protocols screamed in his mind, interstellar laws forbade interference with unknown species without backup. Yet, Elias's instincts, honed from rescuing colonists on fringe planets, overrode caution. He suited up, his environmental armor humming to life, and breached the airlock. The interior was a labyrinth of dim corridors, lit only by flickering emergency lights. Strange symbols adorned the walls, elegant swirls that spoke of a culture both advanced and ethereal. And then, he heard it, a weak, whimpering cry echoing from the medical bay. Pushing through a half-collapsed door, Elias found her, a small alien child, no older than 5 in human years, curled on a biobed. Her skin was a pale, luminous white, like polished marble under moonlight, and her tiny ears tapered to delicate points, reminiscent of ancient Earth legends about elves. She gasped for breath, her chest rising and falling erratically, veins glowing faintly blue beneath her translucent skin. Tubes and monitors surrounded her, beeping in a frantic rhythm that screamed impending death. Elias's heart clenched. He'd lost a sister to illness back on Earth, a memory that fueled his recklessness now. Without hesitation, he scanned her with his portable med kit. The readout was grim, a rare hemolytic disease, her blood cells disintegrating from some cosmic toxin. Her species' physiology was incompatible with standard human treatments. But then his scanner flagged something extraordinary, his own blood type. AB negative with a unique genetic marker from Earth's ancient mutations, matched a potential transfusion vector. It was a 1 in a billion shot, defying every protocol in the book. Interstellar treaties banned cross-species medical interventions without council approval. One wrong move could spark a galactic incident, but as the child's eyes fluttered open briefly, locking onto his with a plea that transcended language, Elias made his choice. He rolled up his sleeve, ignoring the warning alarms in his suit. "Hang in there, kid," he murmured, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through him. Connecting the transfusion line was improvised genius, hacking his medkit to filter and adapt his blood in real time. As the crimson fluid flowed from his vein into hers, he felt a strange warmth spread through him, like an electric current bridging worlds. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Her monitors stabilized, the blue glow in her veins fading to a healthy pulse. She stirred, letting out a soft coo, her small hand reaching out to touch his armored glove, but victory was short-lived. Alarms blared anew not from the child, but from the ship itself. Elias whirled as the bay doors hissed open, revealing a figure that stole his breath. She was majestic, towering yet graceful, her white hair cascading like a waterfall of silk down her back. Her skin matched the child's, pale and flawless, but her form was that of a goddess, curves accentuated by a flowing gown of iridescent fabric that clung just enough to hint at the strength and sensuality beneath. Pointed ears framed a face of sharp, ethereal beauty, eyes like molten silver piercing the dim light. This was no ordinary survivor. She carried the aura of royalty, a queen in exile. You saved her," she said, her voice a melodic echo, translated seamlessly by Elias's neural implant. She rushed to the child's side, cradling her with tender ferocity. "My daughter, my heir to Zerathia, she was poisoned by our enemy's bioweapon. No one else could have matched the antigen. How?" Elias stood, wiping sweat from his brow, the transfusion line disconnecting with a soft click. "Captain Elias Thorne, human from Earth, your ship's signal called me. I couldn't just leave her." The Queen Lyra, as she would later introduce herself, straightened, her gaze shifting from gratitude to something deeper, more intense. "Human, your kind is legend in our scrolls, resilient, adaptable, defiers a fate. You have given your life essence to my bloodline. In Zerathian custom, this binds us in debt eternal." Her lips curved into a smile that was both regal and inviting, her eyes tracing his form with unabashed curiosity. Elias felt a flush creep up his neck, unaccustomed to such direct admiration. "No debt needed, Your Majesty, just doing what any decent person would." But Lyra stepped closer, her presence intoxicating, a faint scent of starflowers filling the air. "Oh, but there is repayment, Captain. Our species teeters on extinction's edge, our males weakened by wars, our fertility waning. Your blood has proven compatible, strong, vital to honor this debt, and to save my people. You must breed with me, create heirs that blend human fire with Zerathian grace. It is not a request, it is destiny." Elias's world tilted. Breed? With an alien queen? The idea was absurd, thrilling, forbidden. His mind raced. Earth's councils would brand him a traitor. Yet here, in this derelict ship, with enemies closing in, scans showed incoming vessels. Refusal might mean death for them all. Lyra's hand brushed his, sending sparks through his skin, her touch promising worlds of passion and power. As the first enemy drone buzzed against the hull, Elias gripped his plasma rifle. "We talk later. First, let's get you and the kid out of here alive." Lyra nodded, her eyes gleaming with a mix of resolve and desire. "Together, then, my warrior from the stars." The vanguard detached with a roar, enemy fire grazing its shields as Elias piloted them into the nebula's embrace. Lyra stood beside him in the cockpit, her daughter asleep in a makeshift cradle, the queen's hand lingering near his shoulder. "You intrigue me, Elias. Humans are said to be passionate, unbreakable. Show me." He glanced at her, heart pounding not just from the chase. "You have no idea." As they evaded the pursuers, weaving through asteroid fields, Elias couldn't shake the electric pull between them. Lyra's stories flowed. Zerathia, a realm of crystal spires and psychic bonds, ravaged by the Dravex Empire. Her husband slain, her throne usurped, she fled with her child, the last hope. Now, this human had ignited a spark of revival. In a quiet moment, as the ship hummed in hyperspace, Lyra leaned in. "Your blood courses through her veins now. It could course through mine." Intimately, Elias swallowed hard, the implication hanging heavy. "This is crazy. We're from different worlds." "Worlds collide, Captain, and from the ashes, new stars are born." Their escape led to a hidden outpost on a moon of Lunara, where Zerathian loyalists awaited, but danger lurked. Spies had infiltrated. Elias, with his human ingenuity, rigged defenses, traps using salvaged tech that outsmarted the alien tech. Lyra watched, admiration growing. "You fight like a god of old tales." That night, under the moon's glow, as her daughter slept soundly, Lyra approached him in the dim quarters. Her gown slipped slightly, revealing the graceful curve of her shoulder. "Feel this debt, Elias, let me repay it." He hesitated, but her lips met his in a kiss that tasted of eternity, soft, urgent, awakening desires he never knew. It was more than physical. A psychic link flickered, her emotions flooding him, gratitude, loneliness, fierce need. Breaking away, breathless, he whispered, "This changes everything." "Yes," she purred, "and it saves everything." But as passion simmered, alarms blared again, Dravex forces closing in. Elias grabbed his gear, Lyra summoning her latent powers, a glow enveloping her form. Together, they prepared for battle, the Forbidden Union forging an unbreakable alliance. In the heat of combat, Elias's shots were precise, human grit turning the tide. Lyra's energy blasts complemented, her elegance deadly. They won the skirmish, but not without cost, a wound on Elias's arm, which she tended with tender care, her touch lingering. As they fled deeper into the galaxy, toward Zerathia's hidden core, Lyra's demand echoed. "Breed with me, Elias. Give us heirs who will conquer." He looked at her, the queen who saw him as hero and lover. "If we survive this, maybe, but first, let's win your throne back." The adventure had just begun, a tapestry of love, war, and cosmic fate woven from a single act of mercy. The hyperspace jump deposited them into the shimmering veil of the Lunara Nebula, a swirling maelstrom of gas clouds that hid Zerathia's secret heart from prying sensors. Elias's hands gripped the controls, his knuckles white against the worn leather. As the vanguard sliced through the ethereal fog, adrenaline still coursed through his veins from the skirmish, but now it mingled with something deeper, more primal, a heat that had ignited the moment Lyra's lips brushed his. She stood close behind him, her presence a tangible force, like gravity pulling him in. Her scent, that intoxicating blend of starflowers and something uniquely her, filled the cockpit, making it hard to focus on the navigation holo display flickering with potential threats. "We've shaken them for now," Elias said, his voice low, trying to steady himself. He glanced back, catching the way her silver eyes reflected the nebula's glow, tracing the lines of his shoulders with an intensity that sent a shiver down his spine. Her daughter, little Mira, named after a distant star in their lore, slumbered peacefully in the adjacent chamber, her small form stabilized by the transfusion that had bound their fates. Lyra moved closer, her hand resting lightly on his arm, fingers tracing the fabric of his flight suit with deliberate slowness. "You handle this vessel with such command, Elias. It's arousing, watching a human wield power over the stars." Her words were a whisper, laced with the melodic cadence of her people, but there was an undercurrent of hunger that made his pulse quicken. She leaned in, her breath warm against his ear, the curve of her body pressing subtly against his back. The gown she wore, that iridescent fabric, shifted with her movement, revealing just enough of her pale skin to tease the imagination. He swallowed, forcing his eyes back to the controls. "We can't afford distractions right now. Scans show residual Dravex signatures trailing us could be scouts." But even as he spoke, his body betrayed him, responding to her proximity. The cabin felt smaller, the air thicker, charged with unspoken promises. Lyra's touch lingered, her nails grazing his skin through the suit, sending sparks that danced along his nerves. "Distractions?" she murmured, her lips curving into a sly smile as she stepped around to face him, her hips swaying with an effortless grace that spoke of centuries-old Zerathian dances meant to entice. Or perhaps necessities. "Our bond grows, Captain. Your blood saved my child. Now let it awaken something in us both." She placed a hand on his chest, right over his heart, feeling its rapid beat. The psychic link she'd hinted at earlier flickered to life, a subtle thread connecting their minds, allowing glimpses of her desires to flood his thoughts. Visions of tangled limbs under alien skies, the fusion of bodies as stars exploded overhead. Elias's resolve wavered. Earth training drilled into him the sanctity of boundaries, but out here, in the void, rules dissolved like mist. He reached up, covering her hand with his, feeling the cool smoothness of her skin against his calloused palm. "Lyra, this, us, it's dangerous, not just the enemies out there, but what it means for my people, yours." Her eyes darkened with a mix of challenge and yearning. "Danger is the spice of existence, my human hero. Without it, we wither." She guided his hand lower to the dip of her waist, where the fabric of her gown felt like liquid silk under his fingers. The contact was electric, her body responding with a soft hum, a vibration that seemed to emanate from her core, a Zerathian trait, he'd learn later, signaling arousal. "Feel me, Elias, our species may differ, but desire is universal." The ship jolted slightly as they grazed a dense pocket of nebula gas, a reminder of the peril closing in. Elias pulled away reluctantly, checking the sensors. Incoming, 2 Dravex interceptors breaking through the cloud layer. They're locking on. His voice sharpened, the explorer in him taking over, but the heat Lyra had kindled lingered, making every movement feel heightened, sensitized. Lyra's expression shifted from seductive to fierce, her queenly poise returning. "Then we fight, but know this, survival fuels passion." She activated a console with a graceful wave, summoning holographic shields that enveloped the vanguard. Together, they maneuvered, Elias's piloting skills dodging laser fire while Lyra channeled her psychic energy into targeted bursts, disrupting the enemy systems. The battle was a dance of its own, suspense building with each near miss, the ship shuddering under impacts that tested its hull. One interceptor clipped their wing, sending sparks flying across the cockpit. Elias cursed under his breath, stabilizing the craft as alarms wailed. Lyra was thrown against him, her body molding to his in the chaos, her breath ragged. "Elias," she gasped, not from fear, but from the adrenaline-fueled rush that mirrored his own. In that moment, pressed together amid the turmoil, their eyes locked and the psychic link surged. He felt her thrill, her excitement at his bravery, and it amplified his own desires. They destroyed the first interceptor in a blaze of plasma, but the second veered closer, its weapons charging for a fatal shot. Elias executed a daring spiral, using the nebula's interference to blind the enemy. Lyra's hand found his thigh, gripping tightly, not for support, but with intent, her touch wandering higher as if the battle's intensity demanded release. "You're magnificent," she whispered, her voice husky, fingers brushing sensitive areas that made him grit his teeth against the distraction. "Focus," he managed, though his body screamed otherwise. With a final maneuver, he lured the interceptor into a dense gas pocket, where Lyra's energy wave ignited it into a fireball. Silence fell, broken only by their heavy breathing. In the aftermath, as the ship stabilized on autopilot toward Zerathia's core, Lyra didn't pull away. Instead, She turned in his arms, her lips finding his in a kiss that was deeper, more insistent than before. It was a collision of worlds, her softness against his strength, the taste of her like forbidden nectar. Elias's hands roamed, exploring the contours of her back, the way her gown parted under his touch, revealing skin that glowed faintly in the dim light. The erotic tension built slowly, suspensefully, each caress a promise of what could come. She guided him to the captain's quarters, the door sealing behind them with a soft hiss. The room was sparse, functional, but in her presence it transformed. Lyra shed her gown with unhurried elegance, standing before him in all her ethereal beauty, curves that invited worship, her white hair tumbling over shoulders that begged to be kissed. "Undress for me, Elias. Let me see the man who defies galaxies." His flight suit came off in layers, each reveal heightening the anticipation. The air hummed with their shared energy, the psychic link allowing him to feel her admiration, her curiosity about his human form, muscles forged from Earth's gravity, scars from past adventures that she traced with reverent fingers. "So strong," she purred, her body pressing against his, skin to skin. The contrast of her cool luminescence against his warmth creating a symphony of sensations. They moved together, suspense building in the unknown. Would their physiologies align? The answer came in waves of pleasure, her responses amplified by psychic echoes, making every touch feel amplified, every gasp a shared echo. Elias explored her with gentle insistence, discovering erogenous zones unique to her kind, the sensitive tips of her pointed ears, the glowing veins along her neck that pulsed under his lips. Lyra arched against him, her nails digging into his back, not painfully, but possessively, urging him deeper into the intimacy. Yet, even in this erotic haze, suspense lingered. A distant alert pinged, another ship on the horizon, perhaps allies, perhaps foes. Lyra paused, her silver eyes meeting his, a wicked smile playing on her lips. "Let them come, this moment is ours." Their union deepened, a blend of tenderness and urgency, her demands for airs whispered between moans, fueling the fire. Elias felt himself lost in her, the human resilience she craved manifesting in stamina that surprised even her. The room filled with their rhythms, the ship's hum a backdrop to their passion, building to a crescendo that left them breathless, entwined. As they lay there, bodies glistening, the psychic bond solidified, emotions intertwining like vines. But the alert grew insistent. Lyra rose, draping her gown loosely, her form still flushed. "Our enemies approach the core. We must prepare." Elias nodded, pulling her back for one more lingering kiss, the taste of her lingering. Together, the journey pressed on, the erotic interlude a secret fuel, heightening every glance, every touch. Deeper into Zerathia's hidden realms they ventured, where crystal caverns awaited, holding secrets that could tip the scales of war. But with each passing light year, the pull between them grew, a suspenseful thread weaving love and danger into one unbreakable strand. Lyra's hand slipped into his as they monitored the approach. "You've awakened me, Elias. Now, let us awaken my empire." The core loomed, a pulsating heart of energy, but shadows stirred. Dravex infiltrators had breached the outer defenses. Suspense mounted as Elias armed himself, Lyra's psychic aura flaring. Their recent intimacy lent him strength, a borrowed resilience that made him feel invincible. In the caverns below, they descended, the air thick with anticipation. Whispers of loyalists echoed, but so did the hum of enemy drones. Lyra pressed close, her body a reminder of their bond. "Fight for us, my love." The first clash came swiftly, an ambush in the glowing tunnels. Elias's rifle barked, taking down assailants with precise shots, while Lyra's energy waves disoriented the rest. Amid the chaos, their synergy shone, each move anticipating the other. The erotic charge from before translating into lethal grace. They pushed forward, hearts pounding, the erotic undercurrent simmering beneath the surface, promising more once victory was claimed. But a greater threat emerged, a Dravex commander, armored and ruthless, blocking the throne chamber. The battle intensified, suspense coiling like a spring. Elias dodged a blade, countering with a fist that cracked alien armor. Lyra amplified his strikes psychically, their link making them one. As the commander fell, defeated, the chamber opened, Zerathia's core, alive with power. Yet, victory was bittersweet. Scans revealed a fleet inbound. Lyra turned to him, eyes alight with desire and determination. "We claim this now, Elias, and then, we create our future." The erotic promise hung in the air, suspense building toward the climax of their saga. The core of Zerathia pulsed like a living entity, its crystalline walls thrumming with ancient energy that resonated through Elias's bones as they descended deeper into the caverns. The erotic promise from their intimate encounter still lingered, a warm undercurrent that sharpened his senses, making every shadow seem alive with potential threats or hidden wonders. Lyra's hand remained in his, her fingers interlaced with a possessiveness that spoke volumes, her psychic aura brushing against his mind like a lover's whisper, urging him onward. The air grew thicker, charged with the scent of ozone and forgotten lore, as holographic guardians flickered to life along the path, ethereal sentinels that scanned them before dissolving into approval, recognizing their queen's return. But as they approached the throne chamber, a low rumble echoed through the tunnels, vibrating the ground beneath their feet. Elias tensed, his free hand instinctively reaching for his plasma rifle, the weapon's hum syncing with his heightened pulse. "Something's wrong," he muttered, his voice echoing off the crystals. Lyra's eyes narrowed, her silver gaze piercing the dim glow ahead, where the chamber's grand archway loomed like a gateway to destiny or doom. They burst into the vast hall, a cathedral of shimmering quartz and levitating orbs that cast dancing lights across the floor. At its center stood the throne, a magnificent construct of intertwined vines and glowing runes, symbolizing Zerathia's eternal rule. Yet, it was occupied not by a loyalist, but by a hulking figure in obsidian armor, his form twisted with biomechanical enhancements that hissed and clicked like a predator ready to strike. This was Vexar, the Dravex commander, not fallen as they had thought, but risen stronger, his eyes burning with crimson fury. Flanking him were elite warriors, their weapons trained, and in the shadows, traitors from Lyra's own court slithered into view, their pointed ears twitching with treacherous glee. "You dare return, exiled queen?" Vexar's voice boomed, a gravelly thunder that shook the orbs, causing them to pulse erratically. "And with a human pet, how quaint, your child's survival was a fluke. Now, witness the end of your line." Lyra's grip tightened on Elias's hand, her psychic energy flaring outward in a protective wave that made the air shimmer. "Vexar, usurper, you poisoned my daughter, slaughtered my kin. But today, the stars align against you." Her words carried a dramatic weight, echoing with the authority of generations, but Elias felt the undercurrent of fear through their bond, a queen's vulnerability laid bare. The commander laughed, a sound like cracking ice, as he rose from the throne, his armor unfolding to reveal jagged blades and energy conduits. "Align? Your alliance with this primitive ape is laughable. Humans, frail, fleeting, I'll crush him first, then claim you as my trophy, forcing the heirs you so desperately need from your womb myself." Elias's blood boiled at the threat, the human fire Lyra admired igniting into a blaze. He stepped forward, breaking their clasp but not their connection, his rifle raised. "Over my dead body, you oversized tin can." The words were a challenge, thrilling in their defiance, as the chamber erupted into chaos. Warriors lunged, lasers slicing the air like crimson lightning, forcing Elias and Lyra to dive behind a crystal pillar that shattered under the barrage, shards raining down like deadly confetti. The battle unfolded in a whirlwind of motion, dramatic and unrelenting. Elias rolled, firing precise shots that pierced armor and felled two assailants in sprays of sparks and ichor. Lyra channeled her power, psychic blasts hurling enemies against walls with bone-crunching force, her white hair whipping like a banner in the storm. But Vexar advanced, his blades whirling in a deadly arc, closing the distance with surprising speed. Elias dodged a swipe that cleaved the air inches from his chest, the wind of it ruffling his hair, and countered with a point-blank shot that only scorched the commander's shield. Thrilling close calls mounted, Lyra cried out as a traitor's dagger grazed her arm, drawing luminous blood that glowed on the floor. Elias spun, taking the attacker down with a brutal elbow to the throat, his human strength amplified by adrenaline and the lingering psychic boost from their union. "Stay with me," he shouted, pulling her close for a split second, their eyes meeting in a flash of shared resolve and unspoken love. Curiosity gnawed at the edges of the fight. Why had Vexar survived their earlier encounter? As they circled the commander, Elias noticed anomalies, subtle implants in Vexar's form that pulsed with unfamiliar tech, hinting at a greater conspiracy. "He's augmented." Elias gasped between breaths, evading another blade that embedded in the throne's armrest. "Not just Dravex, something else. Look at the runes on his chest. They are not from your world." Lyra's eyes widened in surprise, her psychic probe confirming it. "Necrotech from the Void clans? How? They've been extinct for eons." The revelation added layers of intrigue, suggesting alliances beyond imagination, ancient foes resurrected to topple empires. The climax built relentlessly, Vexar pressing his advantage, his energy whip cracking toward Elias, wrapping around his leg and yanking him off balance. Pain shot through him as he hit the ground, the whip's charge searing his skin, but he refused to yield. With a grunt, he fired upward, blasting the whip's emitter and freeing himself. Lyra seized the moment, unleashing a torrent of psychic force that staggered the commander, cracking his armor and exposing vulnerable circuits. Surprising twists cascaded, traitors turned on each other mid-battle, one revealing himself as a double agent loyal to Lyra, stabbing a comrade to create an opening. For the true queen, he yelled, only to be cut down by Vexar in retribution. The chamber's orbs responded to the chaos, activating defensive protocols that rained energy bolts on intruders, turning the tide in dramatic fashion. Elias scrambled to his feet, tackling Vexar in a bold move that surprised even Lyra. They grappled, human grit against alien might. Elias's fists pounding dents into the armor while Vexar's claws raked his back, drawing blood. The thrill of the struggle was palpable, each blow echoing like thunder, curiosity peaking as Elias spotted a weak point, a glowing core in the commander's chest, pulsing with stolen Zerathian energy. Lyra, the core, hit it. He roared, pinning Vexar long enough for her to focus. She extended her hand, psychic tendrils lancing forward, piercing the armor and shattering the core in a blinding explosion. Vexar howled, his form convulsing as systems failed, collapsing in a heap of smoking wreckage. Panting, Elias rose, helping Lyra to her feet as the remaining enemies fled or surrendered. The throne chamber fell silent, save for the hum of stabilizing orbs. She pulled him into an embrace, her body trembling against his, the dramatic victory sealing their bond further. You saw what others missed. Human insight saves us again. But curiosity lingered. From Vexar's remains, a holographic emitter activated, projecting a ghostly image of a shadowy figure, a being from the Void clans, its voice a chilling whisper. This is but the beginning. The hybrid you seek will be our undoing, or our weapon. Surprise rippled through them. The prophecy of their union wasn't just salvation, it was a cosmic pivot point, drawing darker forces. Elias held Lyra tighter, the thrilling high of battle giving way to a deeper intrigue. Whatever comes, we face it together. As loyalists poured in, hailing their queen's return, the chamber buzzed with renewed life. Mira, awakened by the commotion, toddled in under guard, her small hand reaching for Elias, the man whose blood flowed in her veins. Lyra lifted her daughter, tears of joy mingling with the blood on her cheek. Our family grows, Elias, but so do the shadows. The surprising hologram faded, leaving questions that thrilled the soul. Who was this void entity? How deep did the conspiracy run? Elias kissed Lyra's forehead, his mind racing with possibilities. We've reclaimed your throne. Now, let's uncover the truth. Deeper into the core they ventured, activating ancient archives that hummed to life, revealing scrolls of prophecy. One caught their eye, a depiction of a human-alien hybrid, wielding power to either unite galaxies or shatter them. The dramatic weight settled over them, climax echoing in the promise of greater battles. Thrilling discoveries unfolded. The archives spoke of a hidden artifact, the Nexus Heart, capable of amplifying psychic bonds across species. If we find it, Lyra whispered, her voice laced with curiosity, our heirs could be unstoppable. But alarms blared anew, Void scouts breaching the outer caverns. Elias geared up, the surprise invasion heightening the stakes. No rest for the heroes. They charged into the fray, Lyra's powers surging, Elias's shots unerring. A massive void beast, a tentacled horror summoned from the depths, crashed through a wall, its maw dripping acid. The battle was epic, dramatic lunges and dodges, Elias sliding under tentacles to blast weak spots while Lyra psychically restrained it. In a surprising turn, Mira's presence activated a defensive rune, her hybrid blood infused with Elias's, triggering a chamber-wide shield that vaporized the beast. She's the key. Lyra gasped, eyes wide with wonder. The climax peaked as they secured the archives, but the Void figure's voice echoed once more. The child is ours now, claimed by blood. Thrilling escape ensued, carrying Mira to safety as caverns collapsed behind them. Curiosity burned. What did the Void want with her? Surprising alliances formed with arriving loyal fleets, bolstering their forces. As they emerged into Zerathia's starlit skies, Lyra turned to Elias, her hand on her belly, a subtle hint of what their union might yield. The saga unfolds, my love, dramatic horizons await. The thrill of the unknown propelled them forward, surprises lurking in every shadow, curiosity driving the quest for the Nexus Heart. United, They soared into the cosmos, heroes forged in fire and fate. As the loyal fleets of Zerathia rallied in the starlit expanse above the planet's crystalline surface, their ships forming a protective phalanx that glittered like a constellation of diamonds. Elias and Lyra stood on the Vanguard's bridge, Mira nestled securely in her mother's arms. The child's innocent eyes, now sparkling with a newfound vitality from the hybrid blood coursing through her, gazed up at Elias with an adoration that tugged at his heartstrings. The dramatic escape from the caverns had left them all breathless, the weight of the Void Clan's prophecy hanging over them like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. Yet, in this fleeting moment of respite, Lyra's hand rested subtly on her abdomen, a gesture that spoke of possibilities born from their passionate union, a subtle drama unfolding within her that could reshape galaxies. "We must locate the Nexus heart before the void strikes again," Lyra declared, her voice carrying the regal command that had rallied her people, but softened by the intimate glance she cast Elias's way. The archives had revealed its location. A forsaken asteroid belt in the Nethuria expanse, guarded by automated defenses from a bygone era. Elias nodded, plotting the course on the holomap, his fingers dancing across the controls with the confidence of a man who'd navigated worse hazards. But as the ship accelerated into warp, a sudden jolt rippled through the hull, not from enemy fire, but from an internal system glitch, the aftereffects of their earlier battles straining the Vanguard's aging engines. "Damn it," Elias grumbled, diving under the console to fiddle with exposed wiring, his rear end unceremoniously sticking up in the air as sparks flew. Lyra watched, her silver eyes widening in a mix of amusement and curiosity, the drama of their quest momentarily pierced by this awkward tableau. Mira giggled, pointing at him with a tiny finger. "Human fix, funny bum." Elias's face flushed as he emerged, smudged with grease, holding a fried circuit board. "Not the time for laughs, kiddo, but yes, I guess I do look like a mechanic from a bad holo flick." He shot Lyra a wry grin, trying to play it off, but the Queen's laughter bubbled forth, a melodic sound that eased the tension. "In Zerathia, our engineers wear ceremonial robes for such tasks. You, my love, bring a unique flair." The humor lightened the air, but it underscored an awkward cultural gap, humans with their gritty, hands-on fixes versus the elegant psychic manipulations of her kind. As they stabilized the ship and entered the asteroid belt, drama heightened with each passing rock hurtling past the viewport, some grazing the shields in near misses that made Elias's stomach lurch. The Nexus heart was said to be hidden within the largest asteroid, a colossal hunk of iridescent ore pulsing with latent energy. But scans revealed anomalies. Void scouts had arrived first, their cloaked vessels weaving through the debris like shadows. "They're setting traps," Elias warned, his voice dropping to a dramatic whisper as he amplified the sensors. Lyra's psychic probe extended outward, brushing against hostile minds, confirming the ambush. "We go in hot, then, for our future." Docking on the asteroid's surface was a thriller in itself, the Vanguard touching down amid a field of jagged craters under the cover of a simulated meteor shower Elias rigged with decoy drones. They suited up, Elias in his rugged armor, Lyra in a form-fitting exosuit that accentuated her curves in a way that distracted him at the worst moments, and Mira secured in a protective pod that hovered beside them like a loyal pet. Stepping out into the low-gravity void, the drama escalated as a sudden quake shook the ground, revealing hidden turrets that swiveled to life, their barrels glowing with lethal intent. "Take cover," Elias yelled, grabbing Lyra's arm and leaping behind a boulder, Mira's pod whirring after them. Lasers zipped overhead, carving molten furrows in the rock. In the chaos, Elias's boot snagged on a loose cable, part of the ancient defenses, and he tumbled forward, landing face first in a pile of luminous dust that clung to him like glitter. Lyra pulled him up, stifling a chuckle. "My heroic savior, now sparkling like a Zerathian festival ornament. How endearing." Elias wiped his face, sputtering, "Hey, if it distracts the bad guys, I'll take it. Call me Captain Sparkles." The humor cut through the awkwardness of his clumsiness, but the drama pressed on as void warriors emerged from crevices, their forms hulking and tentacled, advancing with eerie silence. The firefight was intense, heightening every sense, Elias's rifle barking in rhythmic bursts, taking down assailants with human precision, while Lyra's psychic waves disoriented groups, making them stumble comically into each other like drunken dancers. One tentacled foe latched onto Elias's leg, yanking him off balance again, leading to an awkward scramble where he ended up wrestling it in a tangle of limbs. "Get off me, you oversized squid," he grunted, finally blasting it point blank, ink-like fluid splattering his visor. Lyra dispatched another with an elegant energy surge, then helped him up, her touch lingering. "You fight with passion, even in absurdity, it's why I chose you." Deeper into the asteroid's core they pressed, the path narrowing into tunnels lined with glowing fungi that reacted to their presence, blooming in awkward patterns that mimicked romantic symbols from Zerathian lore, hearts and intertwined vines. Elias raised an eyebrow. "Is this place flirting with us?" Lyra blushed faintly, her pale skin tinting rose. "The Nexus influences emotions, it senses our bond, and amplifies it." The drama built as awkward tension simmered. Every brush of hands felt charged, reminders of their intimacy clashing with the peril. A surprising chamber opened before them, a vast dome housing the Nexus heart, a pulsating orb of pure energy suspended in anti-grav, surrounded by holographic guardians that projected illusions of past rulers. But void forces had rigged it with explosives, timers ticking down dramatically. "We have minutes," Lyra gasped, her voice laced with urgency. Elias hacked a console, his fingers flying, but an awkward mishap occurred. Mira's pod bumped a sensor, triggering a lockdown that sealed them in with rising energy fields that threatened to crush them. Panic heightened the drama. Elias shouted commands, Lyra channeling power to hold back the fields, sweat beading on her brow. In the midst of it, Mira cooed innocently, her tiny hand waving a holographic toy that accidentally disrupted a guardian's pattern. "Kid's a natural hacker," Elias quipped, seizing the opening to reroute the explosives. Humor flashed as he mimicked the guardians' pompous voices. "Intruders shall perish, unless they tell a good joke." Lyra rolled her eyes, but smiled, the levity fueling their resolve. As the timer hit critical, they synchronized, Lyra psychically linking with the heart, Elias providing the human anchor through their bond. Energy surged, awkward at first as visions flooded them. Glimpses of potential heirs, half human, half Zerathian, wielding unimaginable power. The drama peaked when a void assassin materialized from the shadows, dagger raised at Lyra's back. Elias spun, tackling him in a graceless heap, the two rolling across the floor in a comical flurry of punches and tentacles. "Not today, buddy," Elias growled, pinning the foe and stunning him with an improvised shock from his suit. With seconds left, they claimed the heart, Lyra absorbing its essence into a containment orb, the chamber stabilizing, but the awkwardness lingered. Extracting themselves involved Elias squeezing through a narrow vent first, his broad shoulders getting stuck momentarily. "A little help?" he called, voice muffled. Lyra pushed from behind, giggling. Humans and their sturdy builds. He popped free, landing in a heap, pulling her after with a dramatic flourish. "Your knight in dusty armor, milady?" Escaping the asteroid, drama heightened further as the void fleet decloaked, an armada of dreadnoughts blocking their path. Elias piloted evasively, weaving through asteroids that exploded in their wake, Lyra amplifying shields with the heart's power. An awkward radio hail came through, a void emissary, voice dripping sarcasm. "Surrender the hybrid child or face oblivion. Your romantic escapades won't save you." Elias retorted with humor. "Tell your boss we're busy planning a family vacation. Buzz off." The quip bought time as loyal Zerathian ships arrived, turning the skirmish into a full-scale battle. Lasers crisscrossed the void, ships dancing in deadly ballets. Elias's maneuvers were thrilling, but awkward when a near hit spun the vanguard, sending them tumbling into each other, Mira's pod safely buffered. But Elias and Lyra ending up in a tangled embrace amid floating debris. "Convenient," Lyra teased breathlessly, her body pressed against his. "Even in war, you find ways to hold me." Elias smirked, riding the ship. "What can I say? Multitasking hero here." The drama culminated in a daring ram through the flagship's shields, Lyra's enhanced psychic blast crippling it from within. As explosions lit the belt, they broke free, the fleet in retreat, back on course to Zerathia, the heart secure. Awkward silences filled with humor, Elias joking about baby names like Sparky for their potential offspring, Lyra feigning horror but laughing. Yet, underlying it all, drama simmered. The heart revealed visions of betrayal within their ranks, heightening suspicions. "We trust no one fully," Lyra whispered, her hand on his. Elias nodded. The awkward intimacy of their situation, human explorer turned alien consort, adding layers to their bond. As they approached home, a distress call from Mira's caretakers added twist. Void agents had infiltrated the palace nurseries. Drama surged anew, awkward as Elias, still glitter-dusted, prepared for infiltration. Time for Captain Sparkles to shine, he quipped, eliciting a groan from Lyra. Infiltrating under cloak, they navigated opulent halls, awkward encounters with guards who mistook Elias for a jester in his disheveled state. "Halt! Who goes? Oh, the Queen's companion?" One stammered. Humor diffused tension as Elias bowed exaggeratedly. "At your service. Now, where's the bad guys?" The rescue was dramatic, bursting into the nursery, dispatching agents in a flurry of action, Elias shielding Mira with his body as lasers flew. Lyra's powers sealed the win, but an awkward revelation. One agent, dying, whispered of a mole in Lyra's council. Heightened drama left them vigilant, the heart's power tempting corruption. In private, awkward tenderness bloomed, Elias massaging Lyra's shoulders, joking about human therapy sessions. She leaned into him, the humor masking deeper emotions. As night fell on Zerathia, they stood on a balcony, stars wheeling overhead, drama of impending war mingling with personal stakes. "Our story's just getting good," Elias said softly. Lyra smiled, pulling him close. "With you, it's always an adventure, dramatic, awkward, and utterly perfect." The stars wheeled overhead in a mesmerizing dance, their light filtering through Zerathia's atmospheric shields to cast a soft, ethereal glow over the balcony where Elias and Lyra stood entwined. The night's breeze carried whispers of the palace gardens below, fragrant with blooming night flowers that mirrored the Queen's own luminous beauty. Elias's arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer, the warmth of her body against his a comforting anchor amid the swirling uncertainties of war and prophecy. Lyra's words lingered in the air, her smile a blend of tenderness and mischief, acknowledging the whirlwind their lives had become, dramatic battles, awkward mishaps, and the undeniable pull drawing them together like gravitational forces in the cosmos. She tilted her head, her white hair cascading over one shoulder, catching the starlight in silken strands. "Perfect, indeed," she murmured, her silver eyes locking onto his with an intensity that made his heart skip. The Nexus heart, now safely ensconced in the palace vaults, hummed faintly in the distance, its energy resonating through their psychic bond, amplifying emotions that had simmered since their first touch. Elias felt it, a gentle thrum in his chest, urging him to lean in, to bridge the small space between them with a kiss that started soft, exploratory, but quickly deepened into something more urgent, more profound. Lyra responded with equal fervor, her hands sliding up his chest, fingers tracing the contours of his muscles through his tunic, as if memorizing every line forged by his human adventures. The kiss broke only for breath, but neither pulled away. Instead, she guided him backward through the arching doors into her private chambers, the heavy silken curtains parting like a veil to reveal a sanctuary of opulent comfort. Crystal lanterns floated gently, dimming to a warm amber hue at her psychic command, casting shadows that danced across walls adorned with holographic murals of Zerathia's storied past. The bed dominated the room, a vast expanse of plush fabrics and hovering cushions, designed for royalty, now inviting them into its embrace. Elias's pulse raced as they moved together, the drama of the day fading into this intimate haven. "Lyra," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion, as he lifted her effortlessly, her legs wrapping around his waist in a natural, fluid motion. She was lighter than she appeared, her ethereal form belying the strength within, and he carried her to the bed with care, laying her down amid the pillows. The awkward humor from earlier battles seemed distant now, replaced by a shared vulnerability that heightened every sensation. He joined her, their bodies aligning perfectly, as if the universe itself had conspired to make them fit. Her gown, that iridescent fabric that had teased him throughout their adventures, slipped away with ease, revealing the graceful curves of her body, pale skin glowing softly in the lantern light, her pointed ears flushing with a subtle rose tint that betrayed her rising passion. Elias's hands explored with reverence, tracing paths along her sides, her hips, eliciting soft sighs from her lips that echoed through their psychic link, allowing him to feel the waves of pleasure she experienced. It was intoxicating. This connection, every caress he gave returned to him, amplified. A loop of shared ecstasy that blurred the lines between them. "You make me feel alive in ways I never imagined." Lyra breathed, her fingers working at his clothing, peeling away layers until skin met skin. The contrast was mesmerizing, his tanned, scarred human form against her flawless luminescence, a testament to their worlds colliding. He kissed her neck, lingering at the sensitive spots he'd discovered before, where her glowing veins pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She arched beneath him, a soft moan escaping as his lips traveled lower, exploring the swells and valleys of her form with gentle insistence. The air grew warmer, charged with their energy, the Nexus heart's influence weaving subtle threads of enhancement, making every touch feel like a spark igniting stars. Elias paused to look into her eyes, seeking confirmation in their silver depths, and found only desire mirroring his own. "I want this, us," he said, his voice steady despite the fire building within. Lyra nodded, pulling him closer, their bodies intertwining in a dance as old as time, yet uniquely theirs. The movements were slow at first, savoring the build-up, each shift and press drawing them deeper into harmony. Sensations layered upon one another, the softness of her against the firmness of him, the way her legs entwined with his, holding him as if afraid to let go. Through the bond, he sensed her thoughts, admiration for his resilience, the human capacity for passion that burned bright and unyielding. As their rhythm quickened, the room seemed to pulse with them, the floating lanterns swaying gently in sync. Lyra's hands gripped his back, nails pressing just enough to leave faint marks, a possessive claim that thrilled him. He responded in kind, his movements guided by her subtle cues, whispers of encouragement, gasps that urged him onward. The intimacy deepened, a blend of tenderness and intensity, where every peak and valley of sensation built toward a shared crescendo. It was more than physical. It was a merging of souls, the psychic link allowing emotions to flow freely, love, trust, the promise of heirs that could bridge their species. In the midst of it, Lyra's voice rose in a melodic whisper, her words in Zerathian weaving with English through their connection. "With you, I feel complete." Elias echoed the sentiment, his own murmurs of affection punctuating the moments, grounding them in the reality of their bond. The climax approached like a supernova, building pressure until it released in waves of bliss that left them trembling, bodies slick and entwined, breaths mingling in the afterglow. They lay there afterward, limbs tangled, her head resting on his chest as she listened to the steady thrum of his heart, a human heartbeat that had become her anchor. The Nexus heart's energy lingered, a soft hum that promised renewal, perhaps even the spark of new life from this union. Elias stroked her hair, marveling at its silkiness, the way it caught the light like fresh snow under moonlight. "That was incredible," he said softly, a smile tugging at his lips. Lyra lifted her head, her eyes sparkling with contentment. "It is the beginning, my love. Our connection grows stronger with each moment." But even in this sanctuary, the outside world intruded subtly, a distant chime from the palace comms, signaling updates from the council. Lyra sighed, tracing patterns on his skin with her fingertip. "The war doesn't pause for us, but these stolen times, they fuel our fight." Elias nodded, pulling her closer, unwilling to let the moment end just yet. They talked in hushed tones, sharing dreams of a future where their children, hybrids of human grit and Zerathian grace, could roam free galaxies without fear. As the night deepened, they rose reluctantly, dressing in leisurely fashion, hands lingering in touches that promised more. Mira stirred in the adjacent nursery, her coos drawing them to check on her. The child reached for Elias, her small fingers grasping his, the bond of blood evident in her bright eyes. Lyra watched with a soft smile. She senses it too, the family we're building. Venturing back to the balcony, the stars seemed brighter, as if approving their union. But drama loomed. Scouts reported void movements amassing near the borders. Elias geared up mentally, the intimacy fresh in his mind lending him renewed vigor. "We'll protect this, all of it," he vowed. Lyra linked her arm with his, their steps synchronized as they headed to the war room. The council awaited, holographic maps displaying encroaching threats. Amid the strategy session, awkward glances from advisors hinted at rumors of their closeness, but Elias met them with humor-laced confidence. "Focus on the enemy, folks. We've got the home front covered." The meeting intensified, plans unfolding for a preemptive strike on a void outpost. Lyra's enhanced abilities from the heart shone, proposing tactics that blended psychic warfare with human ingenuity. Elias added insights, his experiences from Earth's frontier campaigns proving invaluable. Yet, through it all, stolen glances between them carried the warmth of their recent closeness, a secret strength. As dawn broke, painting the skies in hues of lavender and gold, they prepared for departure. The Vanguard, repaired and upgraded with Zerathian tech, awaited. Mira was left in trusted care, her farewell hugs tugging at heartstrings. "Be safe, Papa Elias," she lisped, the title slipping out naturally, warming him to his core. En route to the outpost, tension built, but their bond provided solace. In the ship's quarters, they shared a quiet meal, hands brushing, eyes conveying unspoken affections. The journey allowed reflection, their union not just passion, but a foundation for alliance. Approaching the outpost, scans revealed heavier defenses than anticipated. Drama heightened as they infiltrated under cloak, navigating asteroid fields riddled with mines. An awkward near-miss sent the ship spinning, Elias correcting with a quip. Dancing lessons from the stars again? Inside the outpost, stealth was key, slipping past patrols, hacking terminals for intel. Lyra's psychic veil concealed them, but a close call with a guard led to a hushed takedown, their coordinated moves seamless from shared intimacy. Deeper in, they uncovered void plans, a weapon targeting hybrid bloodlines, aimed at Mira and potential siblings. The revelation fueled resolve. Planting charges, they escaped amid explosions, the outpost crumbling in fiery spectacle. Back on Zerathia, victory celebrations ensued, but Lyra pulled Elias aside, her hand on her abdomen once more. "I feel changes. Our night may have borne fruit." The news, tender and profound, added layers to their saga. As they retired, the cycle of closeness renewed, promising nights of connection amid the stars. The universe watched, their love a beacon against the void. The universe seemed to hold its breath as Elias and Lyra walked hand in hand through the palace corridors, the echoes of their footsteps mingling with the distant hum of Zerathia's revitalized defenses. The cycle of closeness they had embraced felt like a lifeline, a rhythm that pulsed stronger with each shared glance and whispered promise, weaving their fates into an unbreakable tapestry. Lyra's hand occasionally drifted to her abdomen, a subtle gesture that filled Elias with a mix of awe and protectiveness. The possibility of new life stirring within her, a beacon of hope amid the encroaching shadows of war. The celebrations from their recent victory still lingered in the air, feasts in the grand halls where loyalists toasted to the Queen's return and the human who had become their unlikely champion. But now, as dawn's light gave way to the full blaze of Zerathia's twin suns, the focus shifted to strategy, to fortifying their world against the void's insidious advance. They entered the war room, a cavernous space alive with holographic displays that projected swirling maps of the galaxy, pinpointing void outposts like festering wounds in the stars. Advisors bowed deeply, their pointed ears twitching with deference, as Lyra took her place at the head of the crystalline table. Elias stood beside her, his presence a grounding force, his human perspective offering fresh tactics that blended brute ingenuity with Zerathian elegance. "We've struck a blow," he said, zooming in on a cluster of asteroids near the border, "but they're regrouping. If we hit their supply lines here, we could cripple their fleet before they mass for an invasion." Lyra nodded, her silver eyes gleaming with approval, the psychic bond between them allowing a silent exchange of encouragement. One advisor, an elder named Tiva with hair as white as fresh snow and a gown that shimmered like liquid starlight, stepped forward. "The Nexus Heart's power could amplify our shields, Your Majesty. With the humans' blood enhancing our hybrids, we might even turn their weapons against them." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room, but Elias felt a subtle unease, a flicker in the bond, like a distant storm cloud on the horizon. He brushed it aside, attributing it to fatigue from their nocturnal intimacies and the relentless pace of their adventures. As discussions deepened, delving into troop deployments and psychic reconnaissance, a young messenger burst in, her face flushed with urgency. "My queen, a transmission from the outer sentinels, encrypted, priority alpha, it's from the void." The room fell silent, tension coiling like a spring. Lyra activated the central holoprojector, and the ghostly figure from before materialized once more, its form shrouded in swirling darkness, features obscured but voice dripping with mocking familiarity. "Queen Lyra and her pet human, congratulations on your fruitful union. But know this, the child you carry is not merely a bridge between worlds, it is the key to unraveling them." Elias's hand instinctively went to Lyra's shoulder, protective instinct flaring, but the figure continued, its tone shifting to something almost paternal. "Elias Thorne, explorer of Earth, you think your blood saved the girl by chance? No, it was engineered, drawn here by forces older than your primitive species." The hologram flickered, resolving into clearer details, a face emerging from the shadows, one that bore an uncanny resemblance to Elias's own, strong jaw, piercing eyes, but twisted with alien augmentations, veins glowing with the same blue luminescence as Mira's had during her illness. Lyra gasped, her hand flying to her mouth, the psychic bond flooding with shock that mirrored Elias's own disbelief. "Impossible," she whispered, but the figure laughed, a sound that chilled the room. Not impossible, daughter of Zerathia, I am Elias Thorne, Elias's father, long thought lost to the stars. Abducted decades ago by the Void clans during Earth's early explorations, I was remade, enhanced. I lead them now, not as conquerors, but as saviors from a greater cataclysm, a cosmic rift threatening all life. Your transfusion, Elias, was no accident. I orchestrated the poisoning of the child to summon you, knowing your rare bloodline, our bloodline carried dormant Zerathian genes from ancient seedings on Earth. The revelation hit like a supernova, surprise exploding through Elias's mind, shattering assumptions he'd held dear. His father, alive, a Void leader, the man who'd vanished on a routine mission when Elias was a boy, inspiring his own path into the stars, now twisted into this enigmatic antagonist. Memories flooded back, childhood stories of a heroic dad, bedtime tales of galactic wonders, now tainted by this betrayal. You let them poison a child? For what, some grand scheme? Elias's voice cracked, anger surging alongside confusion, his fists clenching at his sides. Kale's image leaned forward, eyes so like Elias's, pleading beneath the cold exterior. Not betrayal, son, necessity. Humans carry the resilience we need. Zerathians, the psychic might. The rift approaches, a tear in reality birthed by ancient wars. Only a true hybrid, forged from our line, can seal it. Mira was the test. Your union with Lyra, the culmination. Join me, Elias, bring your queen. Together, we save everything, not as enemies, but as family. Lyra recoiled, her body trembling against Elias, the bond conveying waves of horror and doubt. Lies, the Void has ravaged our worlds, slaughtered innocents, this is manipulation. But even as she spoke, fragments of truth pierced through, ancient scrolls in the archives hinting at Earth as a lost colony. Psychic echoes in Elias's mind that had always felt otherworldly. The advisors erupted in chaos, some drawing weapons, others scanning for intrusions, the drama escalating as palace alarms wailed, signaling incoming Void vessels slipping through defenses. Elias stood frozen, the twist unraveling his world. His father alive, altered, pulling strings from the shadows. The demand to breed, the battles, their love all part of a larger orchestration. Yet, through the surprise, a spark of HFY defiance ignited. If you're my father, he growled, stepping forward. You know humans don't bow to puppets. We'll seal your rift our way, without sacrificing innocence. The hologram flickered, Kale's expression a mix of pride and sorrow. Then come find me, son, in the heart of the rift, but hurry, the cataclysm awakens. The transmission cut, leaving the room in stunned silence, only broken by Lyra's urgent commands to mobilize fleets. As they rushed to the vanguard, Mira in tow, now revealed as a pawn in this cosmic game, Elias grappled with the revelation. Lyra pulled him aside in a quiet alcove, her hands cupping his face. Elias, my love, this changes nothing between us. Your heart is true. That's why I chose you, not some engineered fate. Their kiss was fierce, reaffirming their bond amid the turmoil, but the surprise lingered, fueling questions. Was his resilience truly human, or augmented by hidden heritage? Boarding the ship, they launched into the fray, Void ships clashing with Zerathian defenders in a ballet of lasers and energy waves. Elias piloted with renewed fury, dodging debris, his mind racing. If he's telling the truth, the rift could swallow galaxies, but joining him, no way. Lyra channeled the Nexus heart, boosting shields, her pregnancy adding personal stakes, protecting not just worlds, but their growing family. A skirmish intensified, a Void cruiser targeted them, its weapons locking. Elias executed a daring flip, countering with torpedoes that breached its hull. Through the psychic link, he felt Lyra's support, but also faint echoes, Kale's presence, probing, familial ties tugging like invisible threads. They broke through, heading toward the rift's coordinates, a swirling vortex in the Kithaeron Nebula, distortions warping space. En route, Elias delved into ship's databases, cross-referencing Earth history with Zerathian lore. Clues emerged. Ancient visitations, genetic markers in human DNA matching Zerathian patterns. The twist deepened. Humans weren't just tough. They were survivors of forgotten experiments, their fuck yeah he spirit a legacy of alien engineering. Arriving at the rift, reality bent, stars stretched, time dilated. Kale's flagship awaited, a monolithic vessel pulsing with dark energy. A docking invitation beamed peaceful, insistent. We have no choice, Lyra said, her voice steady despite fear. But we go armed. Aboard, they navigated dimly lit corridors, Mira clutched close, guards flanking. Kale greeted them in a chamber overlooking the rift, a maelstrom of colors devouring light. Up close, the resemblance was striking. Age lines etched by suffering, eyes holding regret. "Son, you've grown strong like I hoped." The confrontation built. Kale explained the rift's origin, an experiment gone wrong, blending dimensions. Only a hybrid ritual could close it, requiring Elias's blood, Lyra's power, and Mira's innocence. But the surprise twisted further. Kale revealed implants in Elias from birth, subtle guides leading him here. "You're not just human, Elias, you're the culmination, the bridge." Anger flared, Elias lunged, but Kale parried psychically, not harming. "Fight me or join, the rift hungers." Drama peaked as the vortex surged, pulling ships inward. Lyra unleashed energy, stabilizing temporarily. Elias, torn, felt the familial bond, Kale's memories flooding. Abduction, torture, rise to power for redemption. Surprise softened to understanding, but resolve hardened. "We'll close it without your chains." A battle erupted, Void loyalists attacked, but Elias and Lyra fought back-to-back, synergy perfect. Kale joined against his own extremists, revealing internal fractures, a subtwist of alliance. United momentarily, they initiated the ritual. Blood mingled, psychic waves amplified, the rift shrinking. As it sealed, Kale sacrificed himself, diving into the maw to anchor the closure. "Forgive me, son, live free." The explosion rocked reality, but they escaped, the galaxy saved. Back on Zerathia, the twist's aftermath lingered, Elias pondering his heritage, Lyra's pregnancy progressing, Mira thriving. Their love endured, surprises forging stronger bonds. Yet, whispers of residual rifts hinted at future adventures. The stars beckoned, their story evolving, humanity's spirit, now intertwined with cosmic truths, ready for whatever surprises awaited. The stars gleamed with a renewed clarity, as if the sealed rift had polished the cosmos itself, allowing light to travel unhindered across the vast distances that once threatened to swallow everything whole. Elias and Lyra stood on the palace's highest spire, overlooking Zerathia's sprawling crystal cities that now buzzed with reconstruction efforts, their people emerging from the shadows of war with hopeful vigor. The surprises of the past, Kale's revelation, the familial ties twisted by fate, and the sacrificial closure of the rift had left an indelible mark. But they also forged a path forward, one where humanity's indomitable spirit intertwined with Zerathian grace to promise a brighter era. Lyra's pregnancy progressed subtly, a gentle swell that Elias often rested his hand upon during quiet moments, feeling the faint stirrings of life that symbolized their victory over chaos. Yet, as they descended from the spire into the bustling heart of the palace, drama began to heighten with the arrival of an unexpected delegation, emissaries from Earth's United Frontier Corps. Summoned by Elias's earlier distress beacons that had finally pierced through the nebula's interference. The lead ambassador, a stern woman named Commander Reyes with a no-nonsense buzz cut and a uniform starched to perfection, strode into the throne room flanked by armored guards, her eyes scanning the opulent surroundings with a mix of awe and suspicion. "Captain Thorne," she barked, her voice echoing off the crystal walls, "you've been off-grid for months. Reports of alien alliances, forbidden interventions. Explain yourself before we drag you back for court-martial." Elias straightened, his hand slipping from Lyra's as the awkwardness settled in like an uninvited guest at a royal banquet. Here he was, the rugged explorer turned consort, standing beside a pregnant alien queen in a room full of his human superiors who had no idea about the intimate details of his diplomatic achievements. Lyra, ever the poised ruler, stepped forward with a regal smile, her gown flowing like liquid moonlight. "Commander, welcome to Zerathia. Your captain has not only upheld Earth's values but elevated them, saving our worlds from annihilation." But Reyes' gaze flicked to Lyra's abdomen, then back to Elias, her eyebrow arching in a silent question that screamed volumes. The drama escalated as the delegation demanded a full debriefing, ushering everyone into an adjacent chamber lined with holographic projectors that replayed key events. The transfusion, the battles, the rift's closure. Elias narrated with his usual grit, but awkward pauses crept in when the projections skimmed over their more personal moments, the kisses, the unions that had strengthened their bond. One holoclip glitched, freezing on a tender embrace amid the caverns, eliciting snickers from a young Earth ensign. Captain, is that part of the mission log?" The ensign quipped, trying to stifle a laugh. Elias rubbed the back of his neck, face heating up. "Technical glitch. Moving on, focus on the void threat, people." Lyra shot him a playful glance, her psychic link sending a teasing wave. Asterisk humans and their embarrassment over passion. Adorable. Asterisk. Humor lightened the tension momentarily, but drama surged when Reyes pressed for details on the hybrid child. This offspring, it's a security risk. Earth Command wants genetic samples, assurances it won't compromise a human interests. Lyra's eyes flashed with protective fire, her hand instinctively cradling her belly. Compromise? This child is hope incarnate, a bridge, not a breach. The room thickened with standoff, awkward silences broken only by the hum of holos. Elias stepped between them, his voice steady but laced with humor to diffuse. Whoa, let's not turn this into an intergalactic custody battle. I've seen enough holodramas to know those end with laser fights and bad acting. Reyes, trust me, I've got this covered. Fatherhood's just another adventure. As negotiations dragged on, the delegation insisted on a joint inspection of the Nexus heart in the vaults, heightening the drama with each descending level into Zerathia's underbelly. Torches of psychic energy illuminated the path, but a sudden tremor, residual instability from the rift's closure, shook the corridors, dislodging crystal shards that rained down like glittering hail. Elias shoved Reyes out of harm's way, landing them both in a heap against a wall, his body awkwardly pinning hers in the dim light. You all right? He asked, scrambling up with a sheepish grin. Reyes dusted herself off, her stern facade cracking into a reluctant chuckle. Saved by the captain who beds queens, Earth's finest, indeed. Lyra, helping her advisors, overheard and arched an eyebrow, her link buzzing with mock jealousy. Asterisk rescuing other women now? Should I be concerned? Asterisk Elias whispered back. Only if she starts quoting poetry. The vault opened to reveal the heart, pulsing serenely in its containment field, but drama peaked when scans revealed faint void signatures lingering within, echoes of Kale's sacrifice, potentially reopening microrifts if not contained. This could summon remnants, an Earth scientist warned, his voice trembling. Awkward accusations flew, Zerathians blaming human tech for interference, humans suspecting alien sabotage. Elias, caught in the middle, diffused with humor. Hey, if we're pointing fingers, blame the universe for bad wiring. Let's fix it before it turns into a cosmic party crasher. Lyra nodded, her hand finding his under the table during the heated debate, a secret anchor amid the storm. To heighten alliances, they organized a ceremonial feast that night, blending Earth cuisine with Zerathian delicacies, stake alongside glowing nectar fruits that induced mild euphoria. Drama unfolded as cultural clashes emerged. An Earth diplomat mistook a sacred dance for a conga line, pulling Lyra into an awkward twirl that had her laughing despite the impropriety. Elias joined in, his two left feet human shuffle contrasting her graceful spins, turning the mishap into a humorous spectacle. See, diplomacy through bad dancing, he quipped, dipping her dramatically to cheers, but beneath the levity, tension simmered, whispers of dissent among Zerathian nobles who viewed the human influence as dilution, and Earth reps wary of psychic bonds they couldn't control. The night took a dramatic turn when Mira, now toddling with energetic curiosity, escaped her caretakers and wandered into the feast, her small form weaving through legs until she climbed onto Reyes' lap. Papa's friend? She lisped, tugging at the commander's medals. Reyes froze, the stern warrior melting into awkward softness. Kids aren't my specialty. Elias scooped Mira up, but not before she planted a sticky kiss on Reyes' cheek, leaving a trail of nectar. There, sealed with a toddler's approval. Can't argue with that. Laughter erupted, easing the drama, but Lyra's eyes met Elias's with concern. The child's hybrid aura was growing, attracting subtle void echoes that flickered in the shadows. As the feast wound down, an urgent alert heightened everything. Sensors detected a micro-rift opening in the outer gardens, spewing spectral void entities, ghostly remnants drawn by the heart's energy. Panic rippled through the hall, guests scrambling as ethereal tendrils lashed out, disrupting gravity and sending platters flying. Elias grabbed his rifle from a nearby guard, shouting orders. Form a perimeter. Lyra, channel the heart. But awkward chaos ensued. The Earth diplomat, tipsy on nectar, slipped on spilled fruit, sliding into a tendril that flung him comically across the room like a rag doll. Not the conga again. He yelped, landing in a bush. Drama intensified as the entities coalesced into a humanoid form, a faint echo of Kale, his voice distorted through the rift. Son, the seal weakens, protect the legacy. Elias's heart wrenched, the paternal twist resurfacing amid the fight. He blasted at the core while Lyra amplified psychic barriers, her pregnancy making her movements cautious yet fierce. An awkward moment struck when a tendril wrapped around Elias, lifting him dangling upside down. "A little help here?" he called, firing wildly. Raze tossed him a grenade, yelling, "Catch, lover boy." He detonated it midair, shattering the hold and landing in a roll graceful for once, but covered in ectoplasmic goo. "Thanks. Owe you a drink or a dry clean?" Together, they sealed the micro-rift, the heart's power surging through Lyra to stabilize it. Breathless, Elias pulled her close, humor cutting the drama. "Date night's getting extreme, next time just dinner?" She smiled, leaning into him. "With you, every moment's an adventure." Post-incident, the delegation extended their stay, alliances solidifying through shared peril. Awkward integrations followed. Earth troops training with Zerathian psychics, leading to humorous fails like a soldier's helmet short-circuiting from mental overload. "Feels like my brain's doing yoga," one griped. Drama lingered in council debates over hybrid rights, but Elias mediated with wit. "Think of it as evolution's punchline, humans plus elves equals superkids." As days passed, Lyra's condition advanced, heightening personal drama. Morning sickness struck during a state address, forcing an awkward pause where Elias fetched her a soothing elixir, whispering jokes to ease her nausea. "Baby's already a drama queen, huh?" Nobles murmured, but her resilience shone, turning vulnerability into strength. A scouting mission to residual rift sites added thrills, Elias and Raze co-piloting a hybrid shuttle, awkward banter revealing mutual respect. "You know, Thorne, betting royalty suits you, got that glow." He chuckled. "Jealous? Stick around, might find your own alien prince." They encountered void stragglers, dispatching them in coordinated strikes, drama peaking in a dogfight where Elias's maneuvers saved the day. Back home, Lyra awaited with news, twins detected, doubling the stakes. Elias's joy mixed with dramatic resolve. "Our family's expanding, awkward, chaotic, perfect." Nights brought intimate reflections, humor in planning nurseries with human cribs beside psychic cradles. "No laser toys till they're 5. He joked. Drama of impending parenthood intertwined with galactic duties, but their bond held firm. As a new threat loomed, distant signals of unrest in allied systems, their saga continued. Drama heightened by life's twists, awkward moments fueling laughter, humanity's spirit unyielding. As the signals of unrest in the allied systems flickered across the war room's holographic displays like distant storm warnings, Elias and Lyra found themselves at the center of a council that had grown to include voices from both Earth and Zerathia. A testament to the bridges they had built through peril and passion. The threats were real, rogue void remnants stirring up old rivalries in the Urandor cluster, where fragile treaties teetered on the edge of collapse, but the alliances forged in the fires of recent battles held firm. Bolstered by the shared knowledge that hybrids like their unborn children represented not division, but unity. Elias leaned over the map, his finger tracing potential flashpoints, while Lyra's psychic presence amplified the projections, revealing hidden patterns that human eyes might miss. "If we act now, with a joint fleet, we can quell this before it spreads," he suggested, his voice carrying the weight of experience, tempered by the quiet joy of impending fatherhood that softened his edges. The council agreed, and preparations unfolded with a sense of purposeful urgency. Ships from Earth's frontier core docking alongside Zerathian vessels in a symphony of metallic clangs and humming engines. Amid the hustle, Lyra pulled Elias aside into a secluded alcove overlooking the docking bays, her hand resting on his as the twins stirred within her, a gentle reminder of life's persistence amid chaos. "We've come so far, my love," she said softly, her silver eyes reflecting the stars beyond the viewport. "From a desperate transfusion on a derelict ship to this, a family, an empire reborn." Elias smiled, drawing her close, the warmth of her body against his evoking memories of their intimate nights, the way their union had sparked not just passion, but a legacy. "And we'll see it through. No more surprises we can't handle together." The mission to the Urandor cluster launched under a canopy of stars, the combined fleet slicing through hyperspace like a blade of light. Elias co-piloted the Vanguard with Raze at his side, their earlier awkward banter evolving into a comfortable camaraderie that lightened the drama of the journey. "Never thought I'd be flying with alien royalty's baby daddy," she teased, adjusting the shields as they emerged into the cluster's turbulent nebula. Elias chuckled, glancing back at Lyra in the command seat, Mira playing quietly at her feet with a holographic toy that projected tiny starships. Life's full of plot twists. Just wait till the kids start psychic pranks. Earth Daycare won't know what hit 'em. The humor eased the tension, but as they approached the hotspot, a contested planetoid where void agitators had incited local factions, the stakes rose, scanners blaring with incoming hostiles. Drama unfolded in the void as the fleet engaged, lasers painting the darkness in streaks of crimson and azure. Elias maneuvered the Vanguard through the fray, dodging debris from shattered drones while Lyra channeled the Nexus Heart's energy to disrupt enemy communications, her powers amplified by the life growing within her. A direct hit rocked their ship, sending sparks flying across the bridge, and in the chaos, Mira's toy activated a minor system glitch, flooding the comms with cheerful beeps that mimicked a surrender code. Kids got timing. Rays laughed, quickly overriding it, but the awkward mishap bought them a split-second advantage, allowing Elias to line up a crippling shot on the lead agitator vessel. "Take that, you cosmic troublemakers," he shouted, the blast rippling through space and scattering the remnants. With the agitators routed and treaties reaffirmed through swift diplomacy, Lyra's regal presence sealing deals that Earth's blunt negotiations complemented, the fleet returned triumphant, the galaxy breathing easier under the weight of restored peace. Back on Zerathia, celebrations erupted anew, this time a grand fusion of cultures. Earth barbecues alongside Zerathian light dances, laughter echoing through the palaces as humans and aliens shared stories under the twin suns. Elias and Lyra slipped away during the festivities, wandering into the gardens where night flowers bloomed in response to her psychic touch, their petals unfurling like silent applause. "Remember our first night here?" Elias asked, pulling her into a gentle embrace, his hands tracing the curve of her belly. "Feels like lifetimes ago." She nodded, leaning into him, the bond between them humming with contentment. And yet, just the beginning. As months passed, Lyra's pregnancy reached its culmination, heightening the personal drama in ways that blended anticipation with tender vulnerability. Elias stood by her side in the royal birthing chamber, a space alive with soft glowing crystals and advanced medtech that monitored every heartbeat. When the twins arrived, a boy and a girl, their skin a luminous blend of pale Zerathian sheen and human warmth, tiny pointed ears framing faces that held Elias's determined eyes, they let out cries that echoed through the psychic link, filling the room with waves of joy. Mira toddled in under guard, her small hand reaching for her siblings, declaring with childish certainty, "My babies." Elias lifted her up, the family complete in that moment, awkward tears stinging his eyes as he whispered to Lyra, "We did this, us against the universe." She smiled through exhaustion, her hand in his, "And we won." The children grew quickly, their hybrid nature revealing gifts that astonished both worlds, the boy's intuitive grasp of human tech, merging it seamlessly with psychic interfaces. The girl's ability to soothe rifts in alliances with an empathetic touch that echoed her mother's grace. Elias and Lyra watched them play in the gardens, Mira leading the charge in imaginative games that spanned galaxies, her transfusion scar a faint badge of the adventure that had started it all. Drama had given way to domestic bliss, though not without its humorous hitches, like the time the boy accidentally hacked the palace lights during a tantrum, plunging the throne room into a disco of flashing colors. "Human temper meets Zerathian power," Elias quipped, fixing it with a laugh, while Lyra shook her head in fond exasperation. Our perfect storm, years unfolded like chapters in a grand epic, with Elias and Lyra at the helm of a united federation that spanned Earth and Zerathia, extending olive branches to reformed void enclaves in honor of Kale's sacrifice. They traveled together, showing their children the wonders of the cosmos, Earth's bustling colonies, where humans cheered the star-crossed hero and his queen, Zerathia's crystal spires, alive with songs of their legend. In quiet moments aboard the Vanguard, now a family vessel upgraded with nurseries and play areas, they reflected on the path that had led them here, from a desperate act of mercy to a love that defied stars. One evening, as the ship orbited a peaceful nebula, painting the viewports in hues of pink and gold, Elias and Lyra stood together, the children asleep in their quarters. "Do you ever miss the old days? The chases, the battles?" he asked, his arm around her waist. She leaned her head on his shoulder, her white hair mingling with his. "Sometimes, but this, the family we built, the peace we earned, it's the true victory. Humanity's spirit, fuck yeah, but with a touch of eternity." He kissed her forehead, the psychic bond wrapping them in shared warmth, a eternal loop of love and resilience. As the nebula swirled outside, a symbol of endless possibilities, their story found its gentle close, not with a bang, but with the quiet certainty of enduring light. The galaxy, once fraught with shadows, now shone brighter for their union, a testament to how one human's blood, given in compassion, could birth worlds anew. And in the hearts of their children, the legacy lived on, ready to face whatever adventures the stars might whisper next. And so, as the stars whispered their final secrets, Elias and Lyra's legacy echoed across the cosmos, a beacon of hope where humanity's unbreakable spirit met alien grace in perfect harmony. Their children grew into legends of their own, exploring new frontiers and forging peace that lasted for generations. Personally, I love how this story celebrates human resilience and the power of unexpected love. It's a thrilling reminder that compassion can change entire galaxies. What do you think? Would you risk everything to save an alien stranger? Thank you all for joining this epic journey. Your likes, subs, comments, and shares are the biggest motivation for us to create even better stories. Hit that button and let's keep the adventure going.